Folks, it's me, Dave Wakeman, and welcome to another edition of the Business of Fun podcast. My guest today is a woman by the name of Melinda Holmes, and we talk about customer service and customer experience. So she's great. She has a really cool special offer that she makes, and I will tell you about that in a moment. But first, let me tell you about my brand new website. DaveWakeman.com has been completely reinvented, reimagined, reinvigorated, every re in the world. And to celebrate that, I am making an offer, and I'm offering listeners of the Business of Fun podcast 30 days of free email coaching with me, because I am going to use the WooCommerce site that I've created to launch some new products and experiences and ways for people to work with me, to connect with me, and to gain more value from our relationship. So email me, dave@davewakeman.com, and I will set you up with 30 days of free email coaching. No strings attached, okay? Completely free. It's a way for me to promote the site. Thank you for listening for over the years, and to, hopefully get us all pointing in a new direction. So it's going to be great. So dave@davewakeman.com. Hook up with my friends at Booking Protect, the global leaders in refund protection. As I have mentioned, Simon told me that the refund protection rate has doubled since the pandemic, meaning that people are buying refund protection at twice the rate that they were before the pandemic. This points out that people are looking for the peace of mind that refund protection provides, and it's an opportunity for you to create better service, give the people peace of mind, and it's a revenue source for your organization. So hook up with those folks at bookingprotect.com. Talk to Kath, Haley, Simon, whomever. They're all great. It's a great product, great people, and customers love it. As you are listening to this, check it out. I'll be at Ticket Summit from August 15th to 17th. I'm doing a panel on pricing, about beating the race to the bottom, with some great people from around the ticketing industry. Get your tickets at ticketsummit.com. Make sure you're there. It's going to be the largest ticket summit ever, and it's going to be 1,300 people. So people are trying to come back, get tickets going again. Check it out, ticketsummit.com. I've talked about research a lot here. A few months ago, I had a chance to chat with Patrick Ryan from Eventellect, and we were talking about market research. And we were talking about a specific part of market research called Net Promoter Score. Patrick said, we love the Net Promoter Score at Eventellect, and ours is 77, which is unbelievable. For the Business of Fun podcast, I need to do a Net Promoter Score survey. But for the Talking Tickets newsletter, which you can get at talkingtickets.substack.com, it's 67. Anything over 20 is outstanding. So 77 is fantastic. We put together a worksheet. So in partnership with Eventellect, we have created a Net Promoter Score worksheet, which explains Net Promoter Score to you, gives you some context around it, and tells you how to run a survey for your own. So you can get qualitative and quantitative research and data from your market, so you can make better decisions, you can create new value, and you can find out what your customers really value about working with you. It's a pretty good indicator about whether or not your business is growing, staying the same, or maybe going to start to decline. Because if you track the number over time, it teaches you about the state of your business. So send me an email, dave@davewakeman.com, and I will get you that worksheet from me and Eventellect. Finally, I want you to check out Activate, the new tool from Activity Stream that will help you take your email marketing up a couple notches. Powered by the same Activity Stream platform that allowed you to create magic moments for your customers, Activate's going to be a really good tool for you coming out of the pandemic when you need to re-engage your audiences, drive revenue, and connect your audience back together again. So check them out, activitystream.com. So back to Melinda Holmes. And Melinda is the customer experience coach at Above the Lead. That's her fancy way of saying that Above the Lead is her business. And she is a great resource on customer service. She has offered to you a gift to download, discover the secret gold mine to increase revenue that most businesses miss. And you can find that at abovethelead.com. And it is there's a 30-minute session included where she walks you through some of her customer service ideas. I can't encourage you to take her up on this offer any more than I'm doing right now. So take her up on the offer by visiting her at Above the Lead. Because in her research, right, she has found that retention of 5% equals creates tremendous amounts of new sales. Happy customers increases your sales. Data and customer perception helps show you how to provide people better customer service. Fulfilling customer needs, the power of bonding and connecting with your customers. These are all things she talks about, and that like her research and her work with organizations around the world teaches her about. One of the key things that we talk about is how a great customer is really at its heart a long-term relationship. Customer service is the heartbeat of any company, and that you need and want to be different. And one of the key ways to do that is through your customer service. The best way to deliver good customer service is by asking. We talked about a whole bunch of stuff. We talked about finding out how to connect with customers, how to get feedback from customers, segmentation of customers, what an investment in good customer services looks like. This is really good because one of the things when I was first starting out that I was curious about was like offering people better tools to be better customer service professionals, because I've always felt that like customer service is probably the best form of marketing. So without anything more from me, here's my conversation with Melinda Holmes on the Business of Fun podcast. I'm excited to welcome Melinda Holmes to the Business of Fun podcast. Melinda, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me. How are you?
Oh, I'm great. Now, this is going to be awesome because I didn't tell you this in the start because I wanted to surprise you on this, but I'm from Brooklyn too. So,
oh yes,
not originally. I originally from Georgia, but I lived in Brooklyn for a long time. I lived in Greenpoint before it was taken over by the hipsters. So
right,
old school
totally
Brooklyn.
Yeah. Oh wow, that is a nice surprise.
Yeah, you see, so we have stuff to talk about. That's right. Brooklyn's in the house.
Yes.
So
nice.
I still self-identify as a New Yorker. So that's like no mystery to the people who listen to this thing.
Right.
We're gonna talk about customer service today, and it's something that is always important. Coming through the pandemic, it's probably even more important because you have a chance. Most of the people listening to this are in sports or concerts, theater, some kind of entertainment venue. It's a chance to reintroduce you and your product and services to your market after a period of forced, not being able to get together. Your forced separation. I'm curious because I have a philosophy of customer service that says I think it's probably one of the best forms of marketing because the touch points that people go through in their decision-making process usually are a lot longer and impacted by small things like great customer service than we realize. But I'm curious, as somebody who focuses only on customer service, do you have a philosophy of customer service that you can talk about?
Yes, I do. As far as my philosophy, I feel like, I know that providing great customer service is the foundation to creating a long-term relationship with your customers, creating an experience using customer service so that they keep coming back for more and you build a community. So I see customer service as the heartbeat of any company. It's as important as any other part of the company. So it's just very important that when you're thinking about your business and your growth, that you're implementing and finding out what your customers need and find out what they want, and then look and see what services and what experiences you can provide for your customers. Because if it's not, like I have a saying that I say that customers are the ones that pay the salaries. So without the customers, there is no business. So you have to make sure, like a plant, that you nurture your customers so that it grows, so that your customer base grows.
And you brought up this idea of needing to talk to your customers and needing to understand them because you have to find out what they want and need. So this is something I talk about, and so a lot, because what I have found from my work and my research is that like most of the time, if I try to put myself in the position of my customer, what I think they want and need is entirely different than what they really are finding valuable or want and need from the product or service I'm giving them. Is that your experience, or do you have an entirely different experience in that regard?
Right. So we can all assume and say, yes, this is what I think they want and need, but the best way to find out is to ask. So you can do that by having very specific surveys that are very specific to get very detailed information about your customer's experience, whether it's when they enter into a show or venue, how the experience is, uh, and reaching out directly to customers, based on especially your customers that really support your business, that they come and they support your events, and you see that they're the top customers, the top attendees, the fans, the audience. You definitely want to segment your list and find out from those, like, what do they like, what do you want to keep doing, what do you want to keep implementing, what do they want to see you improve on, because getting the information directly from your customers is the key. And there's so much resource, and even in your staff, even with your staff, your frontline staff members have a lot of source, a lot of resource, and a lot of data that you can get, because they are on the front lines and they have direct experience with your customers. They're hearing their comments, they're interacting with them directly. So you want to get the feedback from your staff as well as your customers.
Well, I mean, you're preaching my language, Melinda. But I know you did a lot of research, though, before you came on the podcast, which I was like, "Oh, Melinda's too good for me." But the one thing you brought up that I think is very interesting, you're like, start with small stuff, right? And it's talking, listening to your staff, right? The way I teach people, and I'm curious to see how you teach people to do this, because it sounds like we have a similar philosophy on this, is like start by watching how people engage with your venue, your business, right? See how they're using and reacting to lines or, prices or, the process of, buying something, right? Understand what it is there. And then you can go and those people you're talking about, the really strong advocates, or the people who are kind of in the middle, or even the people who only occasionally go, you can ask them very specific questions, and then you can build out the surveys. Or is there a different process that you follow along with your clients?
Mm-hmm. I think surveys are great. They're great ways, even sending out, and I know with manpower it may not be possible, but even a few, even if you commit to 3 a day and send out an email, a direct email, and just have a conversation through email, or even going back to old school and picking up the phone and saying, "Hi, I really appreciate you. You've been coming to this game for the past 10 years. We want to get your feedback. Thank you for being a fan," and just getting feedback, and customers will love that, and they'll be taken back wow. So commit to even if it's 5 a week, even if you have a staff member help and basically manage that task, it's possible. So there's just many ways, and sometimes just getting information directly, because a survey is great, but sometimes just hearing a few through a conversation or through an email is even more impactful.
No, you said it really well, right? It can be as little as 5 a week, right? You send an email to one customer a day, and you say, "Hey, look, I want to know how it was when you came." Right? I mean,
right.
How much would you learn? I do that, right? Even now with my consulting stuff, I send people emails all the time. Let me ask you this, or how did this work, or when we did this training or this coaching session, what did you apply? What didn't you apply? It doesn't have to be huge, because again, I'm gonna share my experience and then ask you either how it differs or is the same, or a little off from yours. Is I spend a lot of time getting these small pieces of data, right? So one individual, or seeing a group or a pair of people, right? And then I build off of it so that I can take that little one nugget and see if that's translated across bigger audiences, because it could be something that only maybe 20% of your audience or your fans are dealing with, and you don't see it because 20% might slip through the crack, but 20% is a huge number at the same time, right? So if you might not ask for it if you start with a big survey. So it's best just to go directly to people and go, "Let me know what's going on." If you have a problem, or there's something you want to talk about that's good or bad, let me know. And you'd be amazed at how important that information is, especially the thing about listening to your staff, because they are the front line to your customers. But
Exactly.
how does is that like sort of is that how does that approach differ? Or is it the same, or like how do you build on something like that?
hmm So as far as building on, like as far as differing between the staff and getting information through email, or like the different type of customers that you have.
Well, I think to me, right, and this is it was a clumsy question, Melinda. So, but B, it's like I'm sort. With me, it's just sort of like I would put it. The idea of always being in the market doing research, right, is something that grounds my philosophy of marketing and strategy. So that's like probably the important thing. So
Right.
I don't necessarily really separate them into different groups. I look at them as like just if I have let's say a ticket taker, somebody's like going, oh, like these lines clog up around this time, and it seems to frustrate people. Okay, so then I would take that piece of data and I'd go to just not cherry pick, but go out and talk to a couple people, fans or customers, and say, hey, look, what's really frustrating you, or what do you really love? And then I would listen to see if that challenge that was laid out by one of my staff is reflected to me in the conversations I'm having. And then if it's reflected in those conversations, then I'm probably going to go and talk to maybe a group of people, pull together a group of 5 or 6 people, right? Buy them a hot dog or a drink or something, right? And then from there, if I see a theme, then I'm probably going to do a survey, because and so like I guess like when I'm asking about how to build it, what is the process of building these things? Because you and I both are not data people, right? We just know how to interpret the data and listen for signals. So I'm looking for like when you're walking through this, what are some of the signals that push you to look for change, or to help push people towards making change?
Right, right. So I would say the first thing, like as far as setting everything up, I definitely agree. All customers are important, and you should get feedback from everyone, because every customer has a perspective that you definitely have to take in consideration. Because if you have a customer that or attendee to an event, whether it's a show or a restaurant, and they don't return, it may be good to collect their information and reach out to them. So a lot of times when you go into venues, they have a little, now they have the tablets where you can get their information when they come in, and they'll say, hey, would you like to be on our email list to find out about our promotions? That's a great way to capture your your fan or the audience right then and there, so that you can reach out to them after the show or after the event and say, hey, how was everything? So I think collecting data as soon as possible, as far as the customer information, for one, is important to get, because you don't know, they may never come back. So you want to get that information so that you can connect with them to find a way to get them to come back. So that's one thing. And then I think it is important to segment your customers. So having the high end customers, and then having the middle ones that are okay, so engaged, and then ones that you haven't that they haven't supported your establishment in a while, because as they say, you focus on a certain percentage that is generating X amount of income. You want to make sure you give them like a VIP, and you find out what they love, so that they come back, because they're the largest supporters of your establishment. But then you also want to engage in the middle, to see how you can turn those middle segments into your VIP as well. And then you get great feedback from someone who never comes back, or someone who seldomly supports your establishment, to say what can we do better, so that you can transition them. Or like you say, like even if someone doesn't, some customers are just not going to be happy. just being the real.
Truth.
I mean, they're just people that you give them the sun and the moon, and they're like, no, this is still not acceptable. There's sometimes you just have to step away and say, okay, thank you, we appreciate your business, and have a great day. But even those customer interactions, you can learn something from. So I think, just from a data perspective, being able to segment it visually and data wise, it's more organized so that you could say, okay, this is the feedback we have from this group. And you don't have to group it the way I gave an example. You can group it how you feel is the most beneficial. It can be, someone who usually gets tickets in this section, or someone who usually comes in the fall. Like, you can segment how you see fit, but it just visually, it's easier, and you can organize your data and be able to make better decisions on how you want to provide great customer service or an experience to your customers. So I would say that step would be to segment the list so that you can see, like, okay, who am I basically focusing on, and getting that data from them. And then, like you say, the staff, getting feedback from the staff, asking your staff, like I'm working with a company now, and they have a set feedback in their application so that the feedback is already there. It's like a list of like 20 things. So when they have an interaction with a customer, and the customer gives them unsolicited feedback, they're able to enter it into the system, and that data is being collected daily. So, and it's real time. So you don't even have to go back and ask, do you remember what the interaction was? You can get that information real time if possible. Like, even if it's a stadium or if it's a theater, maybe when they log out or they leave for the day, have them fill out a quick sheet so that it's real time and you're getting daily feedback on their interactions with the customers. So I think real time is very important, because, as you know, our memories, as much as we want to have great memories, sometimes it's just not, to wait too long to get that real time feedback. So is great. And then once you get that feedback, especially looking at numbers, you want to look at, let's say you have customers and there were, let's say, 100 attendees came for one game on a Friday, or came for a play or a show. You want to see, like, okay, how often are these customers coming back? And you want to see that trend, because if you're seeing that you're spending a lot of time and effort marketing and advertising and getting new customers to come, based on a certain percentage as far as like your churn rate, you definitely want to look at that. So you do have to pay attention not only to sales, but from a customer standpoint, how many repeat attendees and customers are you getting from month to month? Because it's very expensive. It can be like 5 to 25 times more expensive to acquire a new customer than it is to keep a current customer. So it's really, you want to keep the customers you have. When they come in the door, it's like, okay, I'm going to have you for life. I'm going to, so I want to nurture you. I'm going to have you for life, because it takes so much time and effort and marketing and money to get a new customer. So you want to, the ones that come through the door, you want to treat them like gold and make them feel special and appreciated, so that they come back. So,
right. And the thing about it is like, even, and I don't know if the statistic is really is accurate or I know it gets thrown around, so we'll use it in the with that sort of caveat on it. But a customer that gets treated poorly talks to probably like 10 times more people than the customer that's
exactly
happy.
Yes.
And it's the flip side of the NPS score, right? So like the net promoter, like you want the promoters, but like you also, if you really like upset somebody, they're going to destroy you. Especially now in social media, because it's very easy. It's much easier for people to like savage you than to talk about the great things, right? Because nobody ever or not, I won't say nobody, but it's much, much rarer that you get the feedback like, oh my God, Melinda was so great when I came to the thing. Dave was so awesome. No, Dave was a jerk, which is probably true, but that's besides the point. Now, what would you tell me? You're not supposed to agree with that. Come on, Melinda. I thought I'd been nice to you.
But it's...
I'm kidding. No, I'm sorry. You go ahead.
No, I'm ready. I'm listening.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just messing around with you, because it is so important, and it's
yes.
You get the people that are like willing to sing your praises. It's a great. It creates all these great marketing outcomes and all of these positive impacts. But the one challenge that I'm almost certain that you deal with this a lot, because I know anytime I mention customer service to people, outside of if I ever am in a Four Seasons, because they don't have a problem with this at all, is people talk about, well, it's so expensive to deliver great customer service, or it's like, what about the costs of delivering on customer service, or it would just be too expensive to do these things? How do you deal with that objection? Because I tell them it's BS.
It's an investment, hands down. Customer service is an investment to any successful business that wants to have growth. When you invest in anything, it's something that you want to see grow. And there are a lot of times that we invest in things that don't grow. So customer service, as far as the experience, can be free. Yes, you can use fancy technologies and CRMs and all types of software, and you can hire, different type of consultants and things. But a lot of it is just giving the customer a great experience and making them leave like if with just like that warm, bubbly feeling. Like if you can just think of the last venue and establishment. I know because of COVID we haven't been going out as much, but if you can just think about the last the last establishment that you went to and you were just wowed, and you were just like, I didn't have to worry about, oh, the service is bad, I want to speak to a manager. It was just like flawless. It was like, you read my mind. Like, this is great. It can be free. I mean, yes, there's technologies, like I said, but providing that service is not expensive. And any money that you're putting into it, even with the statistic that I gave, like, for example, like increasing retention by 5%, just doing the math, like if you just look at your numbers and you look at what your sales was last month, by increasing retention by 5%, it can increase your profits from 25 to 75%. So if you look at the numbers as far as like what you may be putting in some technology to automate your systems, maybe to enhance the training for your staff, or just to give a few benefits to your customers, like discounting. If you do the math over the course of time, by having a great reputation, that's priceless. I mean, if you look at, I've heard like even like, let's say, Apple computer, how many glitches has the iPhone had? And people still they're faithful to iPhones. They're faithful to Apple because of the experience that they get. They have that loyalty and they have that community, and they have that but they just didn't do that overnight, and that is the same thing that every company has the ability to do, has the potential to do. So it's an investment. So yes, anything we've purchased could be expensive. We could purchase cars, we could purchase houses, a vacation. And those are just purchases. So when you talk about, or even in businesses, there are a lot of things that businesses purchase, but customer service is essential, and it's required to have that experience. So, and to have your customers come back, and like you say, word of mouth is so important. A lot of people will talk about things when they see negative things, so right. It's like you want to make sure that you have your business intact. Like for example, I went to a hotel for my friend's birthday, and the hotel was under renovation. We go into the hotel and it's a beautiful lobby. It's a resort. It's not just a hotel, it's a resort. It's a beautiful lobby, and they have this high-end restaurant, and everybody is friendly and everybody's nice. And our room wasn't ready. So that was one thing. And then we're like, okay, we'll just wait, hang out and wait. Finally, the room was ready. We go into the room and they were under renovation. They had like these huge big tape masks over the windows, which made the room look really dreadful. And then the room just looks like it was just in dire need of renovation. And this is a resort. So I had to call the customer service desk, and the whole process took a whole hour. And then it got to the point that a manager had to come up to the room to see the room. And the manager ended up comping us for the room. But what I said to him was that this room shouldn't have even been rented out. This is not even a room that someone should have even have been in. So a lot of times customer service is a lot of being proactive and preventative than waiting for something to occur as well. And that will save you a lot of time and money, because think about all that, the money the hotel is losing from these rooms that they're trying to, give out. And then, so a lot of times when you have a customer service experience, when you have a very strong foundation in your customer service, in the long run, you end up spending a lot less money trying to fix problems, trying to make up for the mistakes that are made. You want to have an intact customer service from the staff, from the experience that they have, all the way from the first touch that the customer has, from the time that they walk in to during the time that they're experiencing in your establishment, and to the time that they leave. You want it to be flawless, because that way you're preventing a lot of issues and possible complaints. So yes, it's definitely it's not costly, and it's beneficial. It's definitely beneficial, and you do have to do your homework, because there are different levels, and depending on where the establishment is, you may just have to invest a little bit more. Let's say if you're looking for a consultant, or you're looking for software. But at the end of the day, when you do the math, it definitely is a great investment.
You get what you pay for in a lot of cases. But you brought up
Right.
a really, it's often like way more expensive to fix the problem, and you may
Right.
never fix it, because as you were talking about the hotel and like getting a bad hotel experience, it gave me flashbacks of this place that we tried to take my wife for her 50th birthday. I shouldn't say it. I'm gonna scratch the 50 thing. Like we went
50 is
there.
a great number. 50
Yeah.
Yes.
No, but we went to the Montage in Palmetto Bluff, and it was one of the worst hotel experiences I've ever had. And then and you compare it to, and so we'll never go to another Montage hotel. That's just the way it is. But then you compare that with and she's still mad about this, actually, in fact, because for my
Wow.
40th birthday, she was like, "Oh, we're gonna go to the Four Seasons in Beverly Hills," and the Four Seasons anticipated these things, and it was like a flawless experience. And the thing is for any special occasion now, where are we going to go? We're going to go to the Four Seasons. So you win that repeat
Right.
business.
Mm-hmm.
And
Exactly.
it is just so important. And another way that I frame it for people is that just because something is cheap or free, it doesn't mean it's cheap or free. Right. And that brings me up to the topic of investing in your staff and treating your staff well. Right. Because they are really the conduits that your customer service flows through, right? And if you don't treat your staff well, and you don't invest in them and their well-being and their, and their skills, you might think you're saving money because everybody can be good at customer service, or they have just a great customer service attitude. That's not exactly how that works. Or am I wrong?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Your customer service comes from your staff, whether it's the customer service that comes from the front line, or over the phone. It is so important to have a well-trained, well-functioning, organized staff that are speaking directly with your customers. I mean, just for example, anyone that has children, or a niece or nephew, you're not just going to have anyone babysit your child or your niece or nephew. I know I'm just not going to give anyone to my nephew. I'm going to ask a lot of questions, do a background check. I'm going to make sure that they are well capable, and that my nephew will be in good hands. And you need to have that same concept when it comes to your customers. When you have someone speaking to your customer, or interacting with your customer, you want to make sure that your customer is in good hands. If you're not in the room, you want to be able to be at peace knowing that they will be well taken care of. And it comes from how well the staff is treated as well, and what support and resources they have. I've gone into stores and gone, to different establishments, and a lot of times I can tell how the staff is treated and whether they're happy working there or not by the way they interact with me. And then I could even hear a comment here or there, oh, I'm trying to have me work this amount of time and I haven't had a lunch break yet, or so it's really important to hear your staff the same way you hear your customers, and it should be looked at as the way you provide customer service to your customers, you're providing a level of service to your staff, because when they know that you care about them, like I say, if you take care of your customers, they will take care of you. And it's the same thing. If you take care of your staff, they will take care of your customers. So it is so important to provide not just a job for the staff members, but to provide like a place of work, a career, and have them feel that way. Like even like there's certain establishments that, although they may just be like a barista or a rest, they have like this high level of setup that they have for their job. So it's like they have a career, not just a job. And so you want to make sure that you find out and check in with them, whoever their supervisors may be, to see how the customers are. And how the staff is, and even speak directly with some of the staff members. Does it informally, just say, hey, how's it going? And the staff members believe me, because I've worked in a few call centers. They will be very vocal and they will not hesitate. Like, don't feel like, oh, I'm an executive and they're not going to, or I'm a manager. They're going to be intimidated to speak with me, or they won't give me the truth. Yes, they will. They will be very upfront and they will tell you everything what's going on. And you like I love that show, Undercover Boss, because they go in.
My son is addicted to that.
I love that show. And they get so much, they get so much information, and they're able to see exactly what's going on. And not only are they hearing it, but they're experiencing it as well. Yeah. And I also recommend that, so when you want to implement an improvement, kind of program for your staff members, work, on the front lines for one day. Speak with some of the customers for one day. A lot of the call centers, not just talking about call centers, but establishments that I've worked for, some of the managers will like take one day a month and be on the front lines just to get that direct experience and see what it's like. And then that way you can give a lot more insightful suggestions when you want to have improved training, having, making sure that your staff, they have ways and means that they can, have stress relievers and ways to clear their mind. Because if they're stressed, they're not going to provide that great service to your customers. Right. If they feel like they're unfulfilled and underpaid, they're not going to give the customers that A service. And there are creative ways. I understand, like I worked in restaurants and the different type of establishments where the staff is slim and it's really hard to, keep staff on board and resources are slim. But there are creative ways that you can do that. The same thing with customer service. You don't have to spend a whole lot of money, but if they know that you're making the effort and you're planning and you're providing what they need and want, they will buy in and they will be 100% on board as long as they know you're making an effort. So they're not expecting like a luxury vacation every year and, 2 months of vacation.
I'm the only one expecting that.
But if you have a wellness day and plan around the scheduling ahead of time and give them like 2 hours of just like unpaid time to just do paid time. Yeah. To just reset, have like a spa day. Like you can be creative and that may not be possible for all establishments, but you can find what is possible and be creative with it without spending resources. So it is very important to invest in your staff because it is an investment, because as you know, it costs a lot of money to rehire. And you want to keep great employees.
This is a key point
because they're gold.
I was going to say it's just like you talked about it. For if you were increase retention, was it 5%? It usually increases sales and profits 25 to 75%. The equal and opposite impact is on retention and retraining and hiring costs and all of these other impacted costs. So like the reverse, by treating your staff well and looking at the internal brand and the internal customer service, has a huge positive impact on your cost and your profits as well, because you don't, it ends up being cheaper to run your business because you've treated your customers well. It's this really great balancing act. It's, that people, I just don't think they recognize it all the time, or like you get overwhelmed by, I mean, Lord knows if we're not overwhelmed by after the year we've had, I want to meet you because I need to get whatever Zen you have is the thing. But it's important.
Right.
It's
Right.
super important.
Right. And I do understand that you can be stretched thin. As a manager and as an executive, you can be stretched thin, but I would say that it's worth the time, because if you have you're understaffed, and because you're understaffed, customers are not being serviced the way they should be, or if they're disgruntled and they're spilling that into how they're giving service to your customers, that is costing you the brand, that is costing money, that is costing reputation, and then you have to spend time, like you said, and money to get new staff. So it's just important. It's important to take time out, like even if you put it in your calendar or assign that task to someone to make sure that there's time set aside for staff development. And making sure that your staff is being taken care of.
Absolutely. And I would tell people listening, it's always, no matter how thinly you feel stretched, no matter how overwhelmed you feel, if you're a manager or an executive, it's always worth the effort and the time to understand what your customers are seeing and feeling and what your staff on the front lines is seeing and feeling. Because the truth of the matter is, it happens in 100% of organizations. This is almost like with death and taxes, is that as an executive, if you don't go actively seeking out this feedback and this knowledge, you don't get it, right?
Right.
And if you don't get it, you make decisions in a vacuum that may not be able to implement, or you make decisions that are 100% different than you would if you knew what was really going on. So you have to be active in that process. It's just super important, because people just, they have fear of consequences. They don't even think to share this information. I mean, there's all these reasons. So you have to be active in that process. And it's just it's just absolutely important that you get out of your office and go talk to people.
Absolutely.
Now, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I understand, because I've been a supervisor, I've been a manager, working directly with staff members that are directly on the front lines. So I know that it's very stressful, and a lot of times there are decisions that are, brought down from corporate and different divisions, and you have to relay certain changes that might affect morale. But if they know that you care and you're hearing them out, you'll see a lot more positivity, definitely, and being empathetic and getting in touch and if your staff knows that you are in tuned and you're in touch with them and you sincerely want to help them, you will get positive responses and you will get that staff loyalty.
Yeah, there's no doubt. It's like the undercover boss thing. They, as soon as somebody knows exactly what in the world's going on, or like somebody's listening to them, it changes the nature of the relationship. And that has a spillover effect to every aspect of your business. And for the people listening to this podcast, that should be like a wake-up call. Now, Melinda, where do people go to find you on the internet?
Yes, I have my website. It's called abovethelead.com. And you can go on that site, and I actually have resources there available to find out ways that you can better connect with your customer. So that is available. Once again, it's abovethelead.com, my website.
Awesome. Well, Melinda, thank you so much for spending some time with us today. I learned stuff. Yes. I got notes all over the place over here.
Yes, I had a great time. Thank you for having me.
What did you think of my conversation with Melinda Holmes? It was her first podcast episode. I think she did a great job, right? She was really had a lot of great stories about customer service to share. Send me an email. Let me know. It's dave@davewakeman.com. Check out my new website. It's davewakeman.com. Take advantage of the offer I'm giving you. 30 days of free email coaching with me, right? No strings attached, just as a way to promote the new website, to kickstart people's recovery from the pandemic, and, to promote the idea that I'm going to do some cool new things to help add value, allow us to work together more easily and all kinds of stuff. So dave@davewakeman.com. Talk to my friends at Booking Protect. Like I told you at the start, refund protection rates have doubled since the pandemic started. It's a clear sign that people are looking for that security and peace of mind. So go to bookingprotect.com, hook up with my friends Simon, Kat, Kath, Haley, and find out how you can offer refund protection to your clients and guests. Come check me out at Ticket Summit in Las Vegas, the 15th to 17th. I'll be floating around between the ECL, or the ECHL, the ALSD and Ticket Summit. 2 p.m. on Tuesday, though. Pricing panel with some really great people from around the world of ticketing. Check it out, ticketsummit.com. Let me know if you're going to be there. Get my get my worksheet that I put together with my friends at Eventellect that helps you understand Net Promoter Score, what it is, why it's valuable, how to put it in context. Like I've said over and over again, the 77 at Eventellect is unbelievable, right? It's up there with like Apple and Tesla and some of the most loved brands in the world. It's incredible. We put together this worksheet to help you understand how to do it for yourself. You can learn some super valuable lessons by doing the process. It's at the easiest 3 simple questions, okay? So send me an email, dave@davewakeman.com. I'll hook you up, okay? And then finally, check out my friends at ActivityStream. They've created this new program called Activate. And Activate helps you take your email marketing to another level. Driven by the same AI platform that drives the ActivityStream platform in general, Activate's designed to help people recover from the pandemic, to engage their customers via email, to make their email more profitable, more effective, more relevant. If you haven't been keeping in touch with your customers throughout the pandemic, now is the best time I know to start doing it again. So check them out, activitystream.com. Tell them Dave sent you. Finally, as I always say, thank you so much for being here. It's so great to still have lived through a pandemic, or still the middle age of the pandemic even, and know that there's so many people that still listen, still engage with my content, still find value in what I'm doing. Hopefully we're all going to get through this thing together. If you need somebody to talk to, you can always hit me up. I'm here for you. So dave@davewakeman.com. Again, but thank you so much for listening. It's so nice to know that people are listening. And I will talk to you soon. Take it easy.